Hello there, and welcome to Women's Business.
My name is Dr. Marianne Shallcross Smith, known to most as Dr. Daycare, and this is my co-host, Amy Vogel. We'd like to welcome you to our mentoring program designed to educate our community on issues facing working women. We will be speaking to our guests in the areas art, sciences, health, education, law, medicine, politics, community service, military, and business.
The goal of the show is to provide information that comes only from personal experience and to pass this information down to our daughters, nieces, neighbors, family, and friends. Much of the content will relate to the guest speaker's journey in their profession, what they have learned most about this process, and what they wished they had known before this journey began. Since women-owned businesses are the fastest growing sector of our economy, my guests will close with what lesson they would like to pass on to the viewing audience.
Thank you for joining us at Women's Business. We are honored to welcome to the show today Kristen Jansen-Guay, and she's joining us from Pea Poddery, a woman in business.
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
Good, how are you?
Welcome,
Good,
welcome
thanks.
to Women's Business.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah,
No, of
absolutely.
course.
Welcome for having. We love it when we have women in business, especially a woman who owns their business. You have a lot to share, and a lot of people watching this kind of want to own their own business in many ways or go into business, and they truly do not know how to begin. And by the time we all share together, we might get someone else, another woman in business, because actually the fastest growing in the United States is women in business. It's growing and growing and growing, which is fantastic. Yeah. We've come a long way.
Okay.
We have, yeah. So, Kristen, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Kristen, and I am originally from New York. Then we moved to New Hampshire for a few years. I went to school in Massachusetts in Salem State, where I did do a double major in teaching and art. I am a licensed 6 through 12 art teacher. If I ever need it again, it's there. And then I moved down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for a few years and knew I was coming back north, so here I am. Came back. My brother and I franchised a trivia company here.
Wow.
And did that for a few years, and then we happened upon Pea Poddery, and so now I'm doing that as well.
That's
Fantastic.
amazing.
A shout out to Salem State, a very dear and true friend of mine is a professor there, Dr. Pat Revlin. We only get together probably 4 or 5 times a year, and all she does is talk about how wonderful Salem State is.
It's a great school.
It's a great school,
Yep.
and I only
I
know
enjoyed my
Salem
time.
State through her, but when she talks, she glows all about it. And when you said it, you glowed too.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic college from what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved my experience there.
So it sounds like you intended to be an art teacher,
Yep.
and now say you own Pea Poddery, which is a pottery where you come and do your own pottery, correct?
We paint. Yeah, you paint your own pottery. You don't actually work with the wet clay at all. But
So how did you get from art teacher to owner of a business? Because I don't think that was the path you originally were on.
sure wasn't. Yeah. Nope. No intent ever to own a business. Really, I wanted to be a middle school teacher in art, and I did love my student teaching that I did with that, and that was going to be it. But when I moved back here, I started looking back into the school system. I was substitute teaching. I substitute taught once for a science class when I specifically said, please not science. It's the only thing I can't do. And I got science. But, I was looking into doing that again. And then my friend Rob, who's the co-owner of Pea Poddery, he was between jobs and looking for a business venture, and kind of by luck and more of a joke than anything, I found it on Facebook that Pea Poddery was for sale. Thanks, Facebook. That Pea Poddery was for sale, and I had been once or twice with my friends, and I liked it, so I kind of threw it on his Facebook wall as a joke, to which he responded, "What's a Pea Poddery?" And then he looked into it, and he was actually going to do it with his friend who is more of a business person too. Both of them have no experience in art. And the more I thought about it, you know, long drives in the car, I was like, why wouldn't I do it? I went to school for art. I love art. I, you know, have some business experience now with the other thing that I was doing. So I kind of posed that to him, and we looked into it. We looked into it for months and months, and eventually it worked out.
That's amazing. Now, did you know anything about running a business before you just happened to come upon this?
No. Even though we did have the experience of the trivia, it's a very, very, very different thing because it's not a brick and mortar store. So as far as like looking into like a profit and loss or a P&L, I had no idea what that even meant.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
So I mean, Rob knew a lot more than I did, but a lot of long phone calls. He was living in New Hampshire at the time. About it, and we looked more into it. You know, we did our research. We went into Pea Poddery and spoke to the manager at the time, Amanda, who was very helpful. And, you know, months and months later and discussions, we were able to figure it out and decided to do it. Took the big leap, if you will.
So I have a question. I'm a Facebooker, but where do you go on Facebook to find out what businesses are for sale? Or someone just like randomly posts and you picked up on it?
Yeah, so I had
there's not a
liked the
site on
page.
Facebook you go to.
There probably is.
Okay, but you and I don't know it. Aim, do you know
No.
There's a sales page, but
Okay, sales page. Yeah, I've got that.
there's also an
Marketplace.
employment page now, and
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's
yeah,
pretty
it's
cool.
a
So it just
force.
kind of popped up.
It did. I had liked the page already from being, you know, from liking my experience there prior. And then when it popped up that it was for sale, you know, we figured we'd look into it, and that's what we did. And it was hard correspondence that way, as the previous owner was in New Jersey, so it's not like we could speak to her directly either. So that was more long phone calls.
What interested you when you first went to Pea Poddery on your own? What brought you in? Not from the sales, but to go in and
Just to do the art.
just to do the art.
I mean, I did go to school for art. I loved it. I did take ceramics classes, hand building and wheel throw. Not that I ever just painted, but we did paint as well in the classes. So I loved it when I went with my friends. You know, it's fun to gab with your friends and do something like that. It's a lovely environment because it's fun and creative and mellow at the same time. So I had I just had a really good experience doing that, and I love doing it. I love painting. I took way longer than my friends did, though. I still have a piece that I went with them to paint that is still sitting at home unfinished. Even owning it now for 2+ years, it's still unfinished.
That's so funny.
One day I'll get back to it.
whenever I go to this place, because
time.
I'm like the first one done, because I'm so not creative, that I like go to the same thing I do every time.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, I'm like, no, it's just not my I'm
Yeah.
I'm not good at art. It's bad.
People say that, but they all are.
Yeah,
They all are at the studio. Everybody comes out with a great wonder.
That's awesome.
It's-
I got to share a story. Providence was doing underneath the bridge. They were tiling their bridge about, oh my God, it had to be a good 10 years ago. And a good friend of mine, we got like 15, 20 women together, and she bought all of us tiles. And then we all had to paint the tile, and the tile is under a bridge in Providence, right by Waterfire.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, some
I've
of my
seen that.
friends, so artistic. Some of them like just took like the whole night to do it. And I just, from my ceramics class back in the day, my teacher told me to put the top of like a brush or whatever into the paint and just do that. So I polka dotted the whole thing, and then you couldn't put your name on it, but you could put like a little code. So then finally, about a year or so later, all got put up. Guess which one stood out? They took hours to find theirs, and there's the polka dot one, like right there. It was kind of funny. At that moment in life, I said, Marianne, you're creative with polka
There you go,
dots.
see?
There's a whole
You all
book
have it
about
in you.
that.
Really?
A kid's book, yes.
Wow. So
That's
anyhow,
dot day.
just because I truly thought in my mind I wasn't creative, so I'm like, I learned in my ceramics class back in the 70s how to make polka dots. So anyhow, I still take the grandkids down,
Yeah.
my friends who come to Waterfire, and show them my polka dotted tile.
Next time I'm down there, I'm going to have to look for your polka dots.
Oh, it's like right there.
I'm gonna
You
do
look
it. It's a challenge
walk
now.
toward
Yeah,
the
exactly.
water, walk toward the water, look at the right, and it's right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
doing
Thank you. You know what I'm talking about then?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a great idea that they did
Yeah.
that? That was a fantastic idea. Talk about community
That's
involvement.
awesome, exactly.
Yeah, it's
great.
Yeah, it really got us all sold on it. It truly
Yeah.
did.
So your passion's art. which is amazing. And then you decide you want to do a business with art. So when you put your passion with business, how did that work out for you? Like, what big challenges did you come into in the last 2.5, 3 years?
Well, just buying it was a lot more of a challenge than we anticipated, because there was a lot of questions at hand with the actual buying process. And then nailing it down and making it happen was just like, I was biting my nails every night until it actually happened. I wasn't telling my friends because I was so afraid of jinxing it, that whole thing.
I get that.
But then when it actually came to fruition, it was amazing. The challenges since has been learning the business. I mean, I did go to school for art, but as far as those ceramics classes that I did take, they were pretty limited. I didn't specialize in it or anything. So I took the classes and I had skills, but not as far as the daily grind of the studio. So working with a kiln, working with the dipping of the pieces, I was mortified of dipping from the beginning, just because I felt that was the biggest chance of things going wrong. And these are other people's precious works of art in my hands, and so it's a little intimidating, to say the least. But we had the same girl, Amanda, that I spoke of, the manager, who was a 17-year-old
Really?
kid who was running the store. Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
She's well above her years. Yep. Who's now in school, but she really helped us through everything as far as learning the daily, workings of the studio. So getting over that and kind of fine-tuning that before we could even get into doing more with the studio itself and expanding on what we do.
Like hiring,
We
purchasing,
had,
all of
yeah,
that.
that was a big thing right in the beginning, because there was a lot less inventory than we would have liked to see. We always want, something fresh and new and exciting for people to be able to paint. So and that was kind of lacking when we took over. We have the opposite problem now. We have no room for anything. There's no storage. That's a big problem actually in the studio. There's no space for anything. So we're bursting at the seams constantly, but it's always fun to pick something out. So ordering, hiring's not too bad. I think we're a good environment for people to work in, so we tend to keep the staff. And people do seek us out or do want to work there.
Oh, you
so.
definitely got the name, absolutely, yeah.
People do enjoy it, so we haven't had too many issues with that. The scheduling gets a little hectic every once in a while, but where doesn't it,
So someone's watching today, and like, I really want to go in business, but I'm scared. And here's Kristen, who pops up on Facebook and goes to buy a business. What kind of advice would you give them? Like, follow your heart, talk to somebody else, get support, don't do it again.
All of the above. Do it, but make sure you suss it out a lot, because I don't know if it's just that I really wanted it. But I was just ready to go for it without looking better into the business aspect of it. And luckily that I did have my partner, Rob, doing that with me and kind of talking me off the ledge a little bit to start. But then on the other hand, I was pushing him up the ledge. So we kind of did balance ourselves out nicely. But definitely don't be afraid to take the leap. It has worked out for us, but we have worked and worked and worked towards trying to make it better and trying to keep it going and get it better. I would say definitely people are your best resource. I mean, if I didn't have Rob helping, we have a lawyer friend who helped us with some of the intricacies of doing business, getting the business licensing.
Those are things you don't really think about when you decide to do business, right?
Right.
All the compliance stuff, legal stuff.
And people are very helpful with that. But you do have to ask the questions and not be afraid to ask the questions and seek out people that can help you through that, and not just take it all on yourself when you're not doing, if you don't know what you're doing.
You can't be an expert in everything, right?
Right.
So go to the experts. That's
For
why
sure.
they're there.
Yep. Getting to know your community and people that can help you out with that is.
One thing I think I learned to be in business for so many years is way back when you decide, am I going to charge for people who don't show up? You know what I'm saying? And that was like a huge conversation in my mind, huge conversation with other people, doing a lot of research, and like especially pottery situation. You have a class of 5 or 6 girlfriends showing up, and they call an hour before and can't. I mean, that's time, it's energy, and I spent, from my point of making that decision in my mind with my business, going forward and explaining to people, there's a whole back end of business, people. There's a whole piece. Before you even show up that day, so much work has gone into that. Did that ever have to filter through your brain at all?
For sure.
Yeah, and I hear that with a lot of people, especially sole proprietors and partnerships. Yeah,
I tend to forget how much actually goes into it.
Yeah.
When you
Yes.
sit down and then think about it
Yep.
in a situation like you're talking about,
Yeah.
you do realize how much does go into it, and that
Yeah.
you can't shortchange yourself or the business really.
Do you,
hard
have do you
sometimes.
have a lot of policies being made from different experiences you're going through, or?
We've definitely implemented some policies
Yeah.
so that we don't. And very recently, that was actually one of them.
it always comes up.
Is the non-refundable ticket, so
Yeah.
to speak, and we still will work with people. I mean,
Yeah.
life happens. We get
Yes.
it.
No,
We don't
we
want
get
to.
that.
Snowstorms and people's lives happen. Totally.
Right, and we'd like to, if you will, take the Disney approach, and everything's
Yeah.
as positive we can for people,
Yeah.
and so, but like you're saying, there is still a back end to it. We still have put that extra staff member on for your day,
Yeah.
and we ordered that extra specific pottery for you. And
Yeah.
so we're trying to
Get the balance.
balance it out. Yep.
Yeah. It is a hard balance between customer service
Right.
and the bottom line.
Right.
I feel like that's sometimes
Right.
the most difficult because you don't want to put the burden on the customer, but at the same time you don't want to overburden yourself where you can't then do the business.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's a difficult
Yeah.
balance, but once you get it and you manage it well, it becomes easy.
Yeah.
It takes time to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We're still working on it. I think
It'll
it's
come together.
I think it's going to probably be an ongoing process.
I think owning a business is an ongoing process. I mean, even the point of I don't think the magic of the internet blows my mind, because I certainly was pen and paper way back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and to think you just push a button now and it's all right there. The internet certainly has changed the world. I think it's absolutely amazing. So you grow with it, and you need to grow with it. I know my staff talked me into computerized, they call it tadpoles with the children, so the parents get messages every day. And I was like so scared of that 2 years ago. My daughter like, Mom, you got to do it. That's what the parents want. I'm like, wonder if the wrong message gets out.
paranoid.
I'm like, wonder if someone says something that's the wrong message, a message that we all don't want. She goes, well, you deal with that when it happens. I'm like, okay, that was that simple. We did a whole process through that, and the parents like love it and just want it so much, So those are the decisions you get to make along the way, and hopefully you're making them for everyone involved: the staff, the families, the customers, the businesses, all the pieces. Yeah. How is it working with a business partner?
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's all about communication, as is any relationship,
Every
really,
relationship.
So, we have we were friends before. We've continued and have managed that
Nice.
relationship, as well as business partner.
And you said he's
relationship,
in New Hampshire?
so. He lives here now. He lives
Oh,
in
okay.
he lives in Manville, actually.
Oh.
So, yeah, we it's much easier now
Yeah.
that he's
I was gonna say, that must
yeah.
have been difficult for a while with the,
No, as soon as we, or right before we bought the business, he actually moved down. So he's here now, and yeah, it's great. He and I get along. We complement each other well, like I said, and he really enjoys it as well.
That's great.
He's not an art person, but he is getting some inner art out of him that he didn't know was there. He made a skull recently, and he was all proud of it.
Try that.
Sitting front and center on our desk. I
That's
just
a-
removed it yesterday because Halloween's over. Sorry, Rob. But yeah, so it's good. We have a good relationship.
Do you miss teaching at all, or are you happy with the journey your life has taken?
I'm definitely happy where it's gone. I wouldn't have expected it by any means at all, but I wouldn't trade it at all. And I mean, back to that battle of what's tough is time. It's insane. I don't have the same schedule as my husband either, so we rarely see each other. And it's hard. I mean, it's a certain compromise that, he's used to me not being home when I say I'm going to be home,
Yeah.
not seeing him. My friends are used to me canceling plans often.
Because of the business?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
You're married to it, kind of.
Yes,
You are
for
an
sure.
amateur.
It
That's a
is.
very good point.
It
You
is
are.
definitely. But you know, I do have a different availability than most. I can make my own schedule. I can go on
The
vacations.
flexibility is amazing.
Exactly. So I wouldn't trade it for that. You know, I wouldn't not go into teaching if life leads me in that direction. If you know, if eventually I have to step back from the pottery world or from being at the business more often, I certainly hope to never step away entirely from it. I love it. I do. But I wouldn't be opposed to going and starting teaching.
Pottery's been around a long time. It really has. You got something going there. You know, it goes through all the ages, which is fantastic.
Yeah. And apparently, a lot of people used to have kilns in their basement.
Yeah,
That was the thing. We get calls pretty often about
Come get the kiln.
come get the kiln, and we wish we could take every kiln offered, but we have no space for
Yeah.
it. So, but yeah, people really enjoy it. It's all ages that love it. You know, you got the kids and the grandma that used to do it
Yeah,
years and years
definitely,
ago
yeah.
in her basement or had classes.
That's
So
great.
it's amazing.
I was one of those people. And I waited like 6 months to get in the class. And it's interesting. I made a lot of things for Christmas. So as I'm, taking out the boxes and going through, I turn it over and it's got a date on it. I'm like, oh my God, this is older than my kids.
Like that classic Christmas tree with the
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah,
vintage shit.
plastic bulbs and the plastic
People
star on
go
top.
nuts over it.
Plug it in. It's like 1970s right there in
I
our
di-
living
yeah,
room.
I didn't know that was a thing. We
Oh,
didn't
it's-
have one growing up, but yeah, apparently I'm the only human that never had
Maybe
one.
it's a New England
because-
thing, but everyone in my
Maybe.
family, my aunt had one, my grandmother had one, we had one,
Yeah.
everyone had this tree. It was-
It is super popular. Yeah, we've been doing tree classes because people just
Yes,
love it. And
Oh, totally.
I think it brings back that feeling of
The
when you were,
nostalgia, yep.
yeah, it's like that. It's weird how seeing something can just bring back a feeling of when you were there at that time.
It does, yeah. And going to class, talking to the people. And when you walk in there, it's all ages.
Right.
So you learn a lot from so many people. It's actually amazing. And I'm going to honestly tell you, that tree, like back in the day, I can remember purchasing that at my ceramics class. And she made sure you had 50% down, and she took it over time because like $25 back in 1971.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
Yep, it's our highest price item today, so I
It
don't
still
doubt it.
is.
That
Okay,
yep,
there you
yep.
go, yeah.
I don't
So
know
I'm
the
like-
holes. I'm not sure
I
what
make sure
makes
it gets packed away
I think
nicely
just
every
people
year.
love it so much,
Probably
the demand, for it.
demand. Yep, could be, but yep,
Demand for
people
the
love it.
price.
I
That's
did not
great.
realize the demand until a few years ago, and I actually saw it somewhere on Facebook or whatever, how many people are looking for them, the whole bit. So it's
Yeah.
become its own tradition and its own self. Wow. And we
Yep.
have one here.
I don't personally, but you definitely
I'm saying.
Surprise.
do. I know, I feel like I need to get
There
one.
you go. I know where you
It
go.
would take me forever to paint it, like 2 years.
No, actually, it was a fast paint because it was
Yeah.
so big.
It's big. Well,
I
the
could do
way
that,
that
I
you
couldn't
want
do
it.
that skull. To me, that skull sounds very you know what I mean?
Not his. His was easier.
Okay,
There's a
all
sugar
right.
skull. That one's a little more complicated.
Oh,
'cause all the
okay, yeah.
little
Like I
bits.
couldn't see myself doing that, but that tree was like
You
like
do
the-
just kind of
like
schlop
the
it on.
polka dot, same thing. It was really
Yeah. There's a specialty glaze that when you look
Yeah.
at the vintage style, it's
Got it.
one, it looks like a brick. That's one of the cool things about it. It goes on like a brick and it comes out this
Wow.
beautiful green two-tone thing. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's neat. So you could do it.
Like, maybe
It's
I'll
not
try.
one of
Yes,
the
you
tough
could
ones.
aim.
Maybe I'll try. So, honestly, out of everything I've heard today, one thing I got to say is you're pretty courageous. Like, you just literally decided, oh, I saw a company for sale on Facebook. Let me go purchase it. How would you explain to people to do that? Because that takes courage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it was just the desire to want it because I definitely don't see myself as a courageous person at all. I feel like I was just dumb luck that I happened into it almost. So you don't have to go in thinking that, oh, I have to go to school for business and I have to do it
Yeah, it's a very
just
good
right
point.
and know
yes.
that this is my path. It just kind of happened. It fell into my lap. I mean,
But
we
you
did the
took
work.
the leap. Because
I
I'm sure
did.
a lot of people saw that post
But-
thinking, I would love to own a business and maybe this is it. And they passed it for whatever reason. Fear, being scared or whatever. And you're like, let me try it. And you did
Just
it
don't
not
see
knowing
myself
much
as
about
that.
business.
Yeah, just wanted it.
Yeah,
I just
you
wanted
did.
it, so I
You
did
went
it.
after it. You went,
yeah,
risked. You
so
took a
yeah.
risk. You went
That's
after
amazing.
And I wouldn't have said it was, follow your dreams, but if by all means it became my dream. So, I did. So if it's yours, if someone else has a dream, go for it.
Yeah.
Obviously not willy-nilly and not,
Have some other people to help you out.
Yes, yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, no, it's a risk.
Not
Going
turning
into
fault
business
for
is
your
a
own,
risk.
but-
And you did it, which is awesome.
And it sounds like you surround yourself with all the resources you need to get there, which really
Yeah, I
helps
certainly.
you a bit.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
that's
Were
certainly
you scared about the
important.
financing part of it?
Was I?
Yeah.
At the time, for sure. Yeah, I mean, especially at that time in my life, because I was hoping to be married soon, and then the house and the kids got, so it was a big risk
Yeah.
at the time too. But I really had the feeling that we could make it work. I mean, it wasn't floundering per se, but it certainly wasn't
It
doing
needed
as
a
well.
kind of a lift.
Yeah,
You're doing it.
as
You're
well as
doing
it
it.
could have been and should have been, because it's a fantastic place for people. So it was scary, but
You did it.
yeah, we figured we could do it.
That's
We had
amazing.
some ideas. And
Now,
That's
if you go
great.
back in your lifetime, was there anyone you felt that was a mentor to you, or you can, way back when?
My mom.
Your mom,
I
yeah.
gotta say my mom.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
she
Mom
was
needs
she
to
was
hear
a
that.
she was a teacher, so that's probably
Okay.
why I wanted to be a teacher. Not art person whatsoever, though. She was one of those that would say, "I have no art skills," but she was. She's great. She's just my inspiration for everything. So
Wow.
yeah.
What
And
grade
was
did she
super
teach?
Supportive. She was phys ed, and
Oh,
she did
cool.
elementary school
Oh, very
and
nice.
coached as well. She's still coaching.
Really?
73.
Good for
Aw,
her.
thank you,
Coaching
Mom.
field
Thank
hockey. Yeah,
you.
she's a Spitfire. Her mom was a Spitfire. She was fantastic. So
But I think that's
some
important to
strong
keep
women.
going, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Just keep going.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
Oh yeah. She was teaching tap dancing at like 85. My grandma. So
85.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
That's a great
Yeah.
legacy.
So you have lots
Grandma,
of years
Mom, you.
still to work.
yep. Yep. I'll be loaning that kiln for years to come.
Amy, you taking that in?
Yeah. When's retirement? Just kidding.
I'm the mother. Like, I'll never retire. She's
Yeah.
like, when's
And
retirement?
I'm like, when do I get to? Just kidding.
Nah.
Honestly, if I didn't work, I need
start
something to
crazy.
keep
Yep.
going. So it does.
For
It
sure.
keeps it doing, so.
I think work sometimes for different people, but I almost like to bring the best of you out. Sometimes you can't be the best in many other areas, but when you have that dream to go in, it wasn't a dream, but it's somewhere inside of you. It's like, I want to start my own business. Now you get to be creative in your own business. This is your creativity taking over, and you're creating your whole world, which can actually do a lot for yourself, kind of your self-esteem, kind of for your sense of business, kind of for helping the community, all those pieces. That's what I find. Like, I think being in your own business can be very creative. It's almost like painting your own picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So hey, we gotta like do
analogy
this
for
spot
it.
over again. That's okay, but it's your picture. You paint it, which is fantastic.
Good analogy for the business as well too. So.
Well, we have 1 minute left. If you had to offer anything to the listening audience about going into business, in risks or no risk, what would you say?
Sound like a Nike commercial. Just do it.
Do it.
Just do it and make it happen. And yeah.
I love that sentence. Just do it.
Just do it. Just believe in yourself. As you said, and I was mentioning, surround yourself with people and go for it.
Excellent. Thank you
Enjoy
very,
it.
thank you
Thank
very
you, Kristen.
much.
Great
Yes,
show.
thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.